In the heart of a sprawling city, nestled amidst towering skyscrapers and bustling streets, there lived a man named Jonathan. He was an ordinary individual, leading a mundane life, until a series of unexplainable and terrifying events turned his world upside down. It all began one foggy evening when Jonathan returned home from work. As he entered his apartment, a chill ran down his spine. The air felt heavy, and an unnerving silence enveloped the space. Ignoring his unease, he dismissed it as mere exhaustion and carried on with his routine. But as the nights wore on, Jonathan started experiencing inexplicable occurrences that shattered his skepticism. It started with subtle noises, faint whispers in the dead of night, soft footsteps echoing through the empty hallways of his apartment building. At first, he brushed them off as figments of his imagination, attributing them to the stresses of daily life. However, as the ghostly encounters intensified, Jonathan's skepticism turned into fear. Objects would mysteriously move or disappear, doors would slam shut without any logical explanation, and strange figures would flicker at the corner of his vision, only to vanish when he turned to face them. Sleep became a distant memory for Jonathan. Each night, he would lie awake, his senses heightened, listening to the eerie sounds that echoed through his apartment. The once familiar space had transformed into a haunting labyrinth, and he felt a growing sense of dread that clung to him like a shadow. As the days turned into weeks, Jonathan's appearance began to deteriorate. Deep bags formed beneath his eyes, and his once vibrant complexion turned pale and sallow. The weight of the supernatural presence that surrounded him was taking its toll on his physical and mental well-being. Desperate for answers, Jonathan sought solace in researching the history of his apartment building. Late nights were spent scouring old newspaper archives and online forums, uncovering a disturbing past. He discovered that his apartment had been the site of a tragic incident years ago, where a family had met a gruesome end under mysterious circumstances. Armed with this knowledge, Jonathan reached out to paranormal investigators and sought their assistance. Together, they delved into the dark history of the building, conducting extensive research and setting up surveillance equipment to capture any evidence of the supernatural. Night after night, Jonathan and the investigators sat in vigil, waiting for a glimpse into the world beyond. As hours turned into days, their persistence paid off. Strange occurrences were caught on camera, orbs of light floating through the air, disembodied voices echoing through empty rooms, and even fleeting glimpses of apparitions. The evidence only intensified Jonathan's determination to confront the restless spirits that plagued his home. Armed with courage, he embarked on a journey to communicate with the other side, using mediums, seances, and various spiritual practices in an attempt to bring peace to the lost souls. However, the more Jonathan probed into the supernatural realm, the more powerful and malevolent the presence became. It seemed as though his actions had inadvertently unleashed a greater darkness than he could have ever imagined. The spirits, once confined to his apartment, began to manifest outside its walls, following him wherever he went. The city itself transformed into a spectral playground, with shadowy figures lurking in alleyways, and chilling whispers carried by the wind. Jonathan's life became a never-ending nightmare, as he was tormented by the vengeful spirits he had unwittingly awakened. Haunted by his own curiosity and the relentless pursuit of truth, Jonathan's sanity teetered on the edge. He found himself caught in a vicious cycle of terror, unable to escape the clutches of the otherworldly forces that had consumed his life. And so, Jonathan's harrowing tale continues, a man trapped in a city plagued by the malevolent spirits. With each passing day, their torment grew more intense, as if they relished in Jonathan's suffering. Shadows darted around him, whispers echoed in his ears, and he could feel a chilling presence breathing down his neck at every turn. Fear became his constant companion, infiltrating every waking moment. Sleep brought no respite, for his nightmares were plagued with horrifying visions of the restless spirits and their ghastly manifestations. The line between reality and the supernatural blurred, leaving Jonathan in a perpetual state of terror. Desperate for a way out, Jonathan sought the guidance of spiritual advisors, paranormal experts, and even religious figures. But despite their efforts, the malevolent forces seemed impervious to their interventions. It was as if the spirits had tethered themselves to Jonathan's very soul, their grip unyielding and inescapable. Isolated and consumed by his haunted existence, Jonathan withdrew from the world. Friends and loved ones grew concerned, unable to comprehend the depth of his torment. Relationships fractured, careers crumbled, and the city around him continued its relentless rhythm, unaware of the horror that had ensnared one of its own. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope emerged. Jonathan connected with a group of individuals who had also experienced encounters with the supernatural in the city. Bound by their shared anguish, they formed an unlikely alliance, determined to find a way to break the spirit's hold on their lives. Together, they embarked on a treacherous journey through the hidden corners of the city, unearthing forgotten legends, cursed artifacts, and tales of ancient rituals. They delved into the city's history, seeking answers from long-dead witnesses and unearthing the secrets buried deep within its foundations. Their quest took them to abandoned buildings, desolate cemeteries, and places where the barrier between the living and the dead was thinnest. Armed with ancient incantations, blessed talismans, and their unwavering resolve, they confronted the vengeful spirits that haunted the city. But as they challenged the spirits, the stakes grew higher. The malevolent entities fought back with an unparalleled fury, unleashing a wave of terror that threatened to consume the city and all its inhabitants. Jonathan and his companions faced unimaginable horrors, their lives hanging in the balance as they battled forces beyond comprehension. The climax of their struggle drew near, a cataclysmic confrontation between the human and the supernatural. The fate of the city, and perhaps even the world, rested on their shoulders. The resolution to Jonathan's haunting tale remained uncertain, but the fight for survival, redemption, and the restoration of peace in the city burned within their hearts. As the story unfolds, delve into the depths of this urban nightmare, where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the battle for sanity and salvation rages on. Will Jonathan and his allies succeed in breaking free from the clutches of the malevolent spirits, or will they be forever trapped in a city consumed by darkness? As Jonathan and his companions delved deeper into their quest, the malevolent spirits intensified their onslaught. The encounters became more frequent and malevolent, leaving the group physically and mentally drained. They encountered poltergeist activity, objects moving on their own, and witnessed horrifying apparitions that tested their resolve. Driven by a desperate need for answers, the group sought out the help of paranormal investigators and historians with knowledge of the city's dark past. They uncovered disturbing tales of tragedy, unsolved murders, and restless spirits that had plagued the city for centuries. The pieces of the puzzle slowly began to fall into place, revealing a web of interconnected stories and a shared trauma that bound the spirits together. As they uncovered more about the spirits' origins, Jonathan and his companions realized that the key to their liberation lay in resolving the unfinished business of the restless souls. They embarked on a quest to uncover long-buried secrets, seeking justice and closure for the tormented spirits that roamed the city's streets. The group braved haunted locations, performed seances, and communicated with the spirits, attempting to understand their grievances and offer solace. Each step forward was met with resistance as the spirits fought back, manifesting their anger and anguish with greater intensity. During their investigations, they encountered other individuals who had unknowingly crossed paths with the supernatural forces. Together, they formed an alliance, pooling their knowledge and resources to confront the spirits head-on. But as their numbers grew, so did the danger, as the malevolent entities saw them as a threat and retaliated with increased aggression. Jonathan and his companions underwent rigorous training, studying ancient rituals and protective spells, arming themselves with tools to defend against the supernatural onslaught. They faced personal sacrifices and confronted their own deepest fears, knowing that failure could mean a fate worse than death. Their actions attracted the attention of the wider community, drawing both skepticism and curiosity. Media outlets began reporting on the strange occurrences, and the city's residents grew divided, torn between disbelief and a growing unease. As tensions escalated, so did the paranormal activity. The city became a battleground, with the spirits launching relentless attacks on the group and anyone associated with them. Haunted by nightmares and visions, the line between the living and the dead grew increasingly blurred for Jonathan and his companions. In the midst of their struggle, they discovered a shocking revelation, a connection between the malevolent spirits and a powerful figure in the city's history. The revelation deepened their resolve and ignited a determination to expose the truth, no matter the cost. As the rising action reached its peak, Jonathan and his allies prepared for the final confrontation. They assembled their knowledge, skills, and courage, ready to face the spirits and confront the dark entity that had manipulated them for so long. But little did they know that their battle would not only determine their own fates but also the fate of the entire city. The climax awaited them, promising either salvation or eternal damnation in the face of the city's relentless ghosts. In the climactic moment of their battle against the malevolent spirits, Jonathan and his allies found themselves standing in the heart of the city's most haunted location. The air was thick with tension as they prepared to confront the dark entity that had tormented them and the restless souls for so long. As they chanted ancient incantations and invoked protective spells, the atmosphere grew charged with an otherworldly energy. Shadows danced and swirled around them, and a chilling wind swept through the desolate space. The spirits, enraged by the group's audacity, manifested in a terrifying display of power and anger. The room shook with a violent force, and objects flew through the air, propelled by an unseen hand. The spirits' voices echoed through the chamber, their collective rage reverberating in Jonathan's ears. It was a battle of wills, a clash between the forces of light and darkness, and the outcome would determine the fate of the city and its inhabitants. Jonathan and his allies stood firm, their determination unwavering. They called upon their newfound knowledge and strength, channeling their courage and resolve into a final, desperate effort to banish the malevolent spirits once and for all. The room crackled with energy as their combined forces confronted the ancient evil. A blinding light erupted, illuminating the darkness and forcing the spirits to retreat. Their shrieks of anguish filled the room, gradually fading into an eerie silence. The city's atmosphere lifted, as if a heavy weight had been lifted from its shoulders. The battle had been won, but the cost had been great. Exhausted and battered, Jonathan and his companions surveyed the aftermath. The haunted location, once a breeding ground for darkness, was now a place of peace and stillness. The restless spirits, having found closure through the group's actions, had finally been set free. As they stepped out into the city's streets, they were greeted by a changed landscape. The community, united in their shared experiences and the realization of the supernatural forces that had plagued them, began to heal. Bridges were built, friendships were forged, and a newfound appreciation for the fragility of life took hold. Jonathan and his allies, forever changed by their harrowing journey, became guardians of the city's history and protectors against the forces of darkness. They vowed to ensure that the events that had unfolded would not be forgotten, and that the lessons learned would guide future generations. Though scars remained, both seen and unseen, the city emerged stronger from the ordeal. It became a beacon of resilience and hope, a testament to the power of unity in the face of adversity. The tale of Jonathan and his companions would be whispered for generations to come, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the city's shadows and the strength of the human spirit to overcome it.